Thank you, Bonnie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee. This open meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law on March 29th, 2023. All members of the Traffic Safety Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Act allows the Traffic Safety Committee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed in the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Rachel Armstrong.
Here.
Brian Cole. Yep. I think you're on mute.
Here.
Thank you. Kate Gerard.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Scott Charpentier.
Present.
Okay. With that, we will get started. I guess the first item on the agenda is School Street, Brigham Street. This is the 4 feet of space between vehicle and walker, bike rider. Which I believe, isn't that a state law already?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there was a state law that was enacted, I believe, in 2023 that requires drivers to, motor vehicle operators to provide 4 feet of clear space when passing what's referred to as vulnerable roadway users, pedestrians, cyclists, horseback riders. It's a new law, and I know that Mass DOT is working through the implementation of the process of adopting and implementing notification measures. The email came in specific to School Street and Brigham Street, noting locations where there are no sidewalks, and also a notation on Church Street going toward Boylston. So I think it's just more of a general comment.
Okay.
I can add some other streets that are exactly like that if necessary.
No, I know there are a ton. Whitney Street, I mean, we can pretty much name almost any street here in Northborough, right?
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have Sergeant McDonald in the waiting room as an attendee. If you want to promote him, that would be wonderful.
Sergeant McDonald, welcome. Sorry about that. I didn't see that you were in the attendee list. Scott, you said that MassDOT is working on signage.
Yeah. So, Sergeant McDonald, we're talking about the 4 feet clear space for vulnerable roadway users. Motor vehicle operators are required to provide 4 feet of clear space for cyclists, pedestrians, and horseback riders. The MUTCD, Manual and Uniform Traffic Control Devices, in their 2023 edition, again, this is a federal document, Federal Highway Administration, not specific to the state, has this quote in their 2023 manual that the MUTCD does not include share the road signs. It is not a legal MUTCD sign. But it has been commonly used. Drivers often interpret the sign to mean that bicyclists need to share the road with roadway users, with motor vehicle operators. So that's the federal government. I do know that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has that law that they passed. I think it was in 23 or 22, Tom. Not sure when it was.
Is it included with the move over?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was maybe even longer, 21, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
So, Mass DOT did a vulnerable road user pilot study and assessment in 2023 that looked at a lot of different criteria on vulnerable roadway users and motor vehicle operator interactions, where there might be higher incidences of accidents, whether it be congestion, lighting. They even considered environmental justice communities. They weighed in driver impairment, things like that. So that was just done in 23. It was completed in November of 23. So I reached out to DOT this morning and asked them if they've been considering any recommendations, regulations, engineering directives for use of those signs. We've all seen them. It's a little triangle. It's got the bike on it. It's got the 4 feet with the 2 arrows.
Right.
A lot of communities are in the position where they just put up signs how they want, what they want, where they want. I live in Grafton. I have 15-mile-an-hour speed limit signs in town. They mean nothing because they're unenforceable. But they're nice to look at when you drive by. Mass DOT is in the process of evaluating how, when, and where to use these signs. So that, I believe, is what the root of the request was, is trying to have some public notification about this law.
Brian.
Thanks, Bill. Am I the only one who hasn't seen those signs? Like, I know I don't get out much, but like, I have no idea what sign you're talking about.
I've seen a few of them around,
Okay.
nothing in Northborough, obviously, but I
Right.
think I've seen a couple in Marlborough. They have a couple there. I've seen a few on some of the state highways too, like along Route 20, not in the Northborough stretch, but
One of the locations, and in the study, they looked at different possible locations to place them. So, for example, all right, use Bartlett Street, for example. You're on your cycle, you're riding down Forest in Marlborough, you get to Northborough, there is no marked bike lane. That is the type of location that Mass DOT is looking at to say, this is an opportunity to remind drivers, even though there's not a marked bike lane, please yield 4 feet to cyclists. That would be like a possible vulnerable user location that would be eligible for a sign, things like that. Maybe where there's a trailhead that exits onto a roadway where mountain bike cyclists are going to another trail, something like that. So I'm not sure what the result is from Mass DOT, but there needs to be a consideration of how many bicyclists are on this road. Is there a dangerous interaction? They have other things about unsignalized intersections and the like. So again, I mentioned this committee a lot. Putting up signs arbitrarily just to let people know of the law really often doesn't provide much benefit to the community. So.
My other question actually is just how many drivers know about that law in general? Like, I made the joke earlier about how tight the streets are over by my house, but I was walking with my daughter to school this morning, basically on the white line on the side of the road because it's that or in the poison ivy. And every car coming toward us was totally flummoxed about what to do.
right.
If there was a law in the books that said you have to give us 4 feet of space, 50% of the cars I encountered did not know that. 80%. So I'm wondering, I guess, if we should talk to our state representatives in addition to Mass DOT and see what the state can do to publicize that law a little better. Some sort of PSA to like let people know that that's the rule.
Yeah, I think when this first came out, and Tom, you mentioned it was something like 2021, 2022, but I do remember like PSAs on TV about, move over for bikes, move over for pedestrians.
Okay.
But I think they only ran them like in a limited time, because at the time it was, COVID and there weren't a lot of drivers on the road to begin with.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing a PSA. I have seen those signs because that's how I found out that we had to move 4 feet. I only thought they were relevant for bike riders, for bicyclists. So I didn't realize they were also applied to pedestrians. So I was a little bit clueless too until this email. So clearly the word is not getting out.
Right.
I mean, and a consideration is, and putting a short-term notification out there in the form of a variable message board. And if there's, instances where the police are aware that, people have reported close calls, obviously this resident reached out with a couple locations of concern, a variable message board that reminds people, yield 4 feet to, cyclists or something. It's the law. It can help. A permanent sign. It's interesting when you put a permanent sign up, it works for a little while, then it just turns into white noise on the side of the road.
Yeah.
People just kind of go right by it.
Now that the fire station is passed, maybe we can use that sign on Route 20 by the proposed location of the fire station and just change that for a week,
Yeah.
right? Or 2 weeks, and move over, give bicyclists and walkers 4 feet. It's the law type of thing.
I'm sure, I don't know if we have or not, maybe in the past, but I'm sure we can do, again, also use like our Facebook page. We have all the Facebook, Instagram, make a post about it.
Yep.
I know tomorrow is walk to school day, at least for
Yep.
Proctor, so might be a good time to get that message out there.
Yeah, that's all the elementary schools tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Brian, you walked to Proctor from your house?
Yes, I did. Somebody
Wow.
missed the bus.
Oh.
So you have 2 walk to school days in a row. That's
Yeah, well,
fantastic.
this morning was practice. It's taking your life in your hands. Like, I
It is,
dare
I
anybody
know.
else to make that
Oh,
walk.
I
It
know.
is for me too. Where I
Yeah,
live.
I mean,
Yeah,
I live
for-
on Whitney Street, and coming around that corner by Washburn where there's no sidewalks and it's a blind corner. I am shocked that I see people walking their dogs and running all the time down there. And there are just so many roads in town that,
Yeah, and it's Peasley too on Maple Street is I see a lot of people walking to school, and it's not an easy road to walk on, as you all know. Ridge Road too, but the narrow streets near schools are very vulnerable.
so maybe if we can do our own type of PSA type thing, Scott or Tom, through the Facebook pages, and like I said, now we've got the boards out there, the electronic message boards from the town meeting for the fire station. See if we can reuse them for an extra couple weeks.
Yeah, I'll be happy to put something out and put it out there on roadways where, pedestrians and cyclists use it and there's no sidewalks, just to remind drivers, even Route 20, because everybody sees it.
Right.
Give
Yeah, that's what I'm
reminder.
thinking, Route 20, because everyone sees it, right?
Yeah.
The other thing we should probably think about is, during winter, not a lot of people are going to be walking, but come springtime,
Mhm.
right? People are going to be getting out and starting to walk, and maybe that's a good time as well to sort of repush that, that drivers really need to be giving 4 feet.
Yeah, we can do that a couple weeks before town meeting, because we put them out, middle of April for town meeting. So put them out a week or 2 earlier and throw it up there then.
Yep, that would be great.
Okay, we'll do. We can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comment on that before we move on? Okay.
I just texted the chief to see if he could get it on Facebook for us tonight or tomorrow morning regarding the whole walk to school combo with the 4 feet thing.
Okay, thank you. So continuing discussion of Lincoln Street, Pleasant Street for the HCVE. I know there was an email from a member of the public about this and requesting that we look at using ARPA funds. I was sort of hoping that Lisa would be here so we could ask if they had ARPA funds left over, to look at using the funds for this. So Scott, do you have any update?
I do. Bill, you and I will be at the select board meeting, I believe, on the 28th.
Mhm.
Maybe it's worthwhile for this committee to consider a motion or recommendation to the select board to request ARPA funds to support the engineering services required for the truck exclusion on Pleasant Street and Lincoln Street. If there's a vote by this committee, it goes forward, it gets emailed over to the select board, they understand it, and then Bill and I can be there to discuss it on the 28th.
Now, I missed the last meeting. It's the entire length of Pleasant Street we're talking about?
Correct. Pleasant, Upper Pleasant, Lower Pleasant, Lincoln from Pleasant, all the way to West Main.
Okay.
Any board member comments about writing a letter?
I'm certainly in favor of doing it. You know, I think it's certainly two roads that it's a truck exclusion is necessary on.
Yep. And Scott, how much time, if we're able to do that now, are they able to do that over the winter?
Yes. Yep.
That type of work? Okay.
Yeah, I would expect the work to be complete in and around the holidays, with the expectation that by the time spring comes around and, you know, kids are back on the streets, that it's gone through the process. The process is long. We get an engineering study done. The engineering study and the findings come back to this committee like it did in the prior studies. This committee makes their recommendations to the select board. The select board then authorizes us as staff to solicit the truck exclusion to Mass DOT. We then send the request officially to Mass DOT. Mass DOT considers it, and if they approve it, it goes back to the select board to officially and legally adopt it so that it can be put into the bylaws. We notify Mass DOT that it's been accepted by the select board. Then Mass DOT can send us the signs, and then we can put up the signs. So with the speed of government effort, we can get this thing done by the time the snow melts that has yet to fall.
Okay. Okay, so unless anyone disagrees, I think we should write that letter. Do you need a vote, Scott, or?
I think that would be good to show the select board how supportive the committee is
Okay.
of this.
I'll motion for that letter.
So is there a motion to send a letter to the select board recommending the use of ARPA funds in the amount of $18,000 for an HCVE study of Lincoln Street and Pleasant Street?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll give it to Rachel. Roll call vote. Kate?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So that's unanimous. So Scott, if you want to get that written up, I will.
Yep.
I can either stop by to sign it if you need me to, or we can sign it digitally, whatever.
Okay. Will do, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Let's see, HCVE for Brigham Street. We've got to wait for the next cycle to do that one, correct?
Correct. Yep.
That's going to be first on our list for the next cycle.
Yep.
25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I don't know if anyone has thought about what we should ask for survey questions. I was thinking of just going over what Worcester has in theirs, which was pretty much, you know, are you in favor of it? Yes or no? I don't know anyone that wouldn't be in favor of it, but I'm sure there might be some. So maybe we can look to do that this month.
If someone wants to draft prepare a draft question or two, and send it over to me, I can review it internally with staff, contact some of like the town clerk and other staff and see what the best way is to get it out there. And then come back to the committee next month and have some recommendations so we can get it out over the winter. so it can be considered before the next town meeting.
If no one else wants to come up with any, I can come up with the draft questions. Maybe share it with the committee here.
Is that going to run afoul of the open meeting?
If we're just collecting questions, does that run foul of the open meeting, Scott?
No. So, the committee can, well, a committee member can prepare questions, or you can all prepare questions, send them to me. I can compile them, send them out for individual comments. You give me the comments back. Next meeting, we have draft questions. I will then have a mechanism for obtaining the survey. I'm not a huge tech guy. I don't know if it's a Survey Monkey thing or is it I don't know, whatever,
Right.
Facebook. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll figure out some way to do it and come back to the committee with that. You say, yay, we go out there, we get some data and then see what the next step is. But the point is that we do need to have an article at town meeting. I'm not sure what that article is. But in the event the survey is positive, we can reach out to our peer communities that have done it and find out their process.
Okay. So if anyone has any, let's set a deadline of 2 weeks, right? So if anyone has any questions that they want to add under the survey, just send them to Scott. And
Bill,
then,
I'm
Good.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
Is there a link? You said the Worcester had a survey.
There was a link. I'll have to look for it. I know, Scott, I think I had forwarded it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you just do a Google search,
Google,
maybe
okay.
on just, Worcester, Mass, 25
Okay.
mile an hour.
I can do that.
There's been a few communities that have gone in this direction. I don't know if they've been successful or not, or if they've done surveys, but I know there's a few communities that have adopted it.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, we will open up for public comment if anyone has anything they'd like to add to the meeting. And there's nobody in the attendees list, so that will go pretty quick. So next is the approval of minutes. So we have the minutes from August 13th. Did everyone get a chance to read through the minutes? Any questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the August 13th, 2024 minutes?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Brian?
Yes. Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Next is the September 10th, 2024 minutes. Any questions, comments, amendments? Hearing nothing. Is there a motion to approve the September 10th, 2024 minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't think I can vote on that, right?
No.
Yeah, me.
You can second it. You just have to, I'm trying to think of the word now. Scott
Abstain.
was abstain. Thank you. You have to abstain
My
from
bad.
the
I was
vote.
there. Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Rachel?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Kate?
Abstain.
And I'm a yes. Scott and I are actually part of another focus group. And so that's why we sort of moved the meeting to 7 o'clock. Well, my question to the group is everyone okay moving this to 7 o'clock, at least for the next year?
Yeah.
Because they want to do it at the same time as this. So,
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. So we'll move the meetings to 7 from 6:30 to 7. Same thing, second Tuesday of each month. So next meeting will be November 12th. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Kate?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
And I'm an aye again. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
See y'all later.